Group 1 racing here at Doomben on Doomben Cup Day, and Larry Olsen, another great meeting ahead.
Yes, Matt. Oh, look at the weather, the track, the jockeys are here. This is a great meeting. Good support card as well. Some fillies, some mares, sprinters, the BTC Cup. This is what winter racing is about.
Triple Honour is going to start favourite in the Doomben Cup.
We're ready to go in the big Group 1.
A driving finish in the Doomben Cup. The WA galloper, Scenic Shot, getting his nose down in time.
The gate's open and they're off and racing now. Scenic Shot and racing to winner coming at him. Third Slick, Scenic Shot racing to win. Scenic Shot a nose racing to win in the Cup. Scenic Shot got his nose down in an absolute rip tickler.
What a fantastic finish.
It's been a long time coming, and I was going to retire when I rode my next one, but bugger that, mate, this is too much fun.
If ever a horse should be able to win a Group 1, this fella deserved it, and we really feel for him.
It's been another great day of racing here in Brisbane, with still a lot more to come.
Boxing is a sport rich in history. From the magic of Muhammad Ali
I must be the greatest. I told the world.
to the menace of Mike Tyson. Watch the greatest matchups of all time, Monday nights on Canvas Classics.
Hello folks, I'm Alan Thomas and welcome to another edition of John Tapp's Inside Racing, coming to you the coast. Two of the state's most promising riders are the Palmer brothers, Matthew, who's just out of his time, and Michael, who's still an apprentice. And they have the breeding to be champion jockeys because their father is none other than Gary Palmer. Gary himself hit the ground running as an apprentice in 1975, winning Group 1 races, and he's ridden thousands of winners all around the world. I thought it was time we caught up with the two pupils and the teacher. Gary, I want you to tell me what's easier, riding Group 1 winners or sitting in the grandstand watching your sons ride?
Oh, I definitely ride in the Group 1 winners, Al. When you sort of know what the pitfalls are and the circumstance and what's involved and how easy it is to actually have a race for, you do sort of sit home and think at times, and is it worthwhile? But that's their chosen career, and they're doing quite well at it at present.
Yeah. You know, when I look at your two sons, Matthew and Michael, they remind me a lot of you when you were an apprentice, when I was broadcasting races as a young man when you were riding. You came out of the blocks running as an apprentice, didn't you? Yeah,
I did. I was very fortunate that I had Jim Griffiths behind me when I started off. And actually, in those days, you had to come to the Gold Coast and have your first ride, and I think it still is the same today. But Jim sort of basically picked me up from day one. And, you know, I had a lot of horses, or his stables behind me, which is an enormous backing. And it was very, very seldom in those days that we would leave the Gold Coast race without having a winner or two between us. And that, you know, if you get sort of a backing like that behind you, it propels you and puts you in the limelight very, very, very quickly. And people start talking about it. And so it's this thing I did purposely when I set out to put my two boys on the road was I wanted them to come out, ride winners quick, put their name up there so people were actually talking about it. You know, and we were able to do that successfully for both of them, and it's helped them in the long run.
My record roughly shows me here that as an apprentice you rode something like 380 winners. Yeah, that's right. I'm not sure the exact figure of it, but it is up in the 380s as an apprentice in Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne. You know, as I said, I rode a lot of winners. I had a phenomenal run, and I was very successful. Is it a record? It's a record in Queensland. As it stands up today, post-war, it's a record for any apprentice in Queensland at 380 wins, yeah. So come 1977, your Group 1 run starts. Yes. You end up winning, or you start off by winning the QTC Derby in 1977. A horse called Rissa. You'd still been an apprentice at the time. Yeah, I won a Derby on Rissa, Coffs Harbour trained horse. Yep. Still an apprentice. I won the Derby. I think in that
year too. I probably won Morton Handicap too. I had a pretty good season that year, and I think it rolled up with a Doom and Cup on Grove Fair.
You win a size for Eric Kerman on Star of the Night. Then you get tied up with a fairly handy sprinter called Daybreak Lover.
Yeah, Daybreak Lover. He's got a very, very soft spot. I educated him from baby stage, put him through everything. We took him to one of the official barrier trials at Eagle Farm, I think over 900, and he hit the ground running. And he was a bit of a lazy horse. You had to make him do everything. And I can remember that day, Danny said to me, when you get to the 200, drop 1 or 2 on him and see what you can do. Well, in those days, it was a no-no. Well, we come back in, I think Andy Tinder was chief steward. Well, he gave us a dressing down for it, but in hindsight, we had to do that to find out what the horse would do. And as it proved, he come out and he won the Meineke, and he won about 4 or 5 races straight there. He was a very, very good horse.
He was involved in a very controversial race in which he won. The Todman Slipper trial leading into the Golden Slipper, which Sadappa was a short price favourite and beat.
Yeah, he went to Sydney. The Todman Slipper trial was there's only about 4 or 5 runners in the race, a very, very short, small field. He was the outsider of the field. Being a Queenslander in those days, no one gave us much hope. And I can remember before the race, Danny asked me, he said, what do you think we should do on him? I said, well, they're going to expect him to be up there and they're going to expect him to be leading. I said, I think we should try and fool him a bit today. And I said, I'm just going to come out here and I'm just going to drop him straight over and behind. I said, because these small fields, I said, they're very, very difficult to ride in. I said, and there's a very good chance we'll probably get caught out on a limb anyway. So as it is, I took him out and took him straight over behind him. I think I was last, couple of lengths last. And as we left around the 800s, going up the 700, I made a move on him, and I took off on him. And I think I went very quick, and Sadappa was on the inside, and Sadappa was looking for a run on the inside. And just on the point of the corner there, Morris Lowe come out on Sadappa, and he tried to push me out the way, and of course I just pushed him back in, and he went back to the inside and he got chopped off again. I think he come back out. He had another go trying to get a run. He couldn't get a run. And by this time, I'd pinched probably a length and a half. But that was just enough for Daybreak Lover to get home and win. In hindsight, Sadappa probably should have beat me, but it's just riding in those small fields, the most difficult races to ride in because you seem to find so much trouble. But I was just quite fortunate that I had a good horse on the day. I had clear running, and everything fell into place.
And Daybreak Lover ran in the slipper. Sadappa turned the tables, won the race. Then Sadappa didn't run in the size, but he ran second in the Champagne to Lady Eclipse, and then he's come back and he's won the Stradbroke Handicap, which he rode in the Eagle Farm, and he bolted really, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He come back. That was in '84. He had a couple of lead-up races, and really we did set him for the Stradbroke. We honestly thought he was a Stradbroke horse. And we said, I think those days they used to put market up 2 or 3 months in advance. I think they used him up about 80 to 1. And I said to a couple of us, I said, this horse will win the Stradbroke. I said, you want to go and have something on him at 80s, or whatever that edition. And of course, all these runs leading into the Stradbroke were very, very good. And as it turned out, on the day, we had a nice gate, had a terrific run in transit, and everything fell into place and accordingly won.
Daybreak Lover going out of Final Fair is kicking again on the outside. Final Fair going out after Daybreak Lover. Daybreak Lover's in front. Prince Harvey, 6 points, they hit the line. Daybreak!
Sunday, take care of business with the experts.
To the BTC Sprint yesterday, Court Command, who was retired to stud last year and served over 800 mares. I didn't mean to say 100 mares, not 800. I was thinking about Ronnie in his.
Well, you shouldn't be measuring. He's a freak, that horse. You shouldn't be measuring those horses by your own standards.
Yes, no. Well, where are we up to?
Racing Retro. It's your Sunday.
Ruslan is coming home, and so is Captain Lee. You sublimate near the fence. Ruslan has moved up to Scullacci. Ruslan put his nose in front of Scullacci, close to home, and Ruslan won the Stradbroke.
Won another Stradbroke on Ruslan.
Yeah.
You've got someone to thank for getting the ride.
Yeah, I was quite fortunate on that
and
one.
And I hope you said sorry afterwards.
I took her out for dinner anyway.
Oh, that's kind of you. This is your wife, Debbie.
Yeah, that was a lucky one, really, Al. I'd just been coming home from track work, and I really didn't have any rides on that particular day. I think may have 1 or 2 rides, I'm not quite sure, but I definitely wasn't riding in any of the big races. And I got a call from him and said, "Oh, you got a ride in the Stradbroke?" And I said, "No," I said, "I don't think I'll get one." I said, "It's too late now." She said, "Well, I've just got a phone call. I've taken a ride for you." I said, "What is it?" She said, "Oh, Ruslan." I said, "Oh, yeah, okay." And I said, "What weight?" And when she told me 51, well, there was a few choice words said at the end, because at the time I was about 54 or 55, I'm not quite sure, and I had to put off about 4 kilos or something. And yeah, it's a fair bit of weight, and I'm not the best sweater in the world when it come to it, sweating, but as it turned out, I got the weight off, and Julie, the horse, won, so yeah, I've got to thank her for that.
Well, I'm pleased. I'm pleased. You go to Hong Kong. You won the Hong Kong Gold Cup in a horse called Cruise Control.
Correct.
You had a bit of luck in Hong Kong. You rode a lot of winners there.
Yeah, I was very, very fortunate again. I went to Hong Kong. I went originally in '84 and rode for an Australian trainer called Bruce Hutchison. And it's just how the Hong Kong system works. Sometimes one year you have a good season, one year you don't. The previous year, Hutchison had a very, very bad season, so technically he was up for a good season the year I was there. As it turned out, it worked out that way.
Eagle Farm 2004 was really the sort of the start of the end, because with the falls came the weight problem. You found it hard to get off since. That day at Eagle Farm was, when I look at the vision of that race, I still shudder. What do you think when you see it?
Well, you sort of live with those things. Falls as part of life, as I said. To be honest with you, I didn't expect the fall. It happened, well, there was no tightening, Al. There was nothing there. I was racing one off the fence, minding my own business, quite happy. The horse in front of me was too far, and for some unknown reason, my horse just went down. And I can remember saying to myself, "Oh God," knowing I was getting, and couldn't do anything. But it was a very strange fall, in the aspect when the horse, he didn't actually knuckle, his actual front leg spread in front of him, and that's why it was strange, because usually they just knuckle, but his leg spread. And when you do look at the film of it, and I sort of lying in hospital saying to myself, I'm not to blame for this fall. I know I didn't hit heels. How did I fall? And the only thing I could put it down to is the horse in my immediate inside, it had shifted off a horse off the fence. But my horse didn't shift his ground, he held his ground. And the only thing I can find is that he's actually put my horse has put his front legs in between the horse's front and hind legs of the horse that shifted off. And of course he's got tangled up and tripped my horse, which I think's caused my horse to spread eagle in front. But it was a very, very simple fall, but the injuries out of it were horrific.
And you couldn't get back weight-wise after that. You did a little while, you tried for a while. Even rode against both your sons and Cornell the races with the boys, and we'll discuss that with them later. But to get back from a competitive riding point of view, the weight was always going to be a problem? Well,
there was no incentive there, Al. I didn't have a horse. I couldn't find a horse to give me the incentive. And basically, you sort of get feedback, so you're too old and things, he's had too many falls and etc. like that, which they're very quick to write you off when you get to a certain age bracket or things like that. I don't think that I was frightened. I attempted to come back a few times and I just couldn't hack the wasting anymore. But I still rode a few winners here and there. But, you know, it just comes to a time, I suppose, where you've got to step aside and let your younger ones come through, you know.
What was it like riding against Michael and Matthew and Cornell in a couple of races?
It wasn't too bad. You're always on the think in the back of your mind, well, I probably think we're up to something. But you just hope that everything fell into place and, you know, it worked out quite nice, you know.
Today, your race riding days, inverted commas, maybe, but you still ride track work and you ride for Gerald Ryan? Yeah, I still ride track work 4 days a week. I just feel that I still love the horse. I still enjoy riding, and I'm quite happy to do that, and at least it gives me something to do. And you know, the boys ride a couple of Gerald's horses and etc. like that, but
It's just basically keep it in your mind idle.
Well, thanks for your time. I'm going to take a commercial break, and when I'm back, we're going to Michael and Matthew, and we'll just see how competitive a rider you were, what trainer you were of apprentices, and I'm sure we'll get a different light. But thanks for your time, Gary. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks very much, Al.
Miguel Cotto is a fight fan's favourite. His methodical pressuring style enough to challenge of all but one opponent in a decorated career. With a
at 38. Meet the characters and visit the places that are the backbone.
I've got to ask you, Blakes, Michael in the black shirt and Matt.
That's Off the Beaten Track on Sky.
I've got to ask you, Blakes, Michael in the black shirt and Matthew in the white. When you live here with your dad, 3 jockeys in the one house, turmoil?
Can be at times. Probably the worst part was come a Saturday or a Wednesday morning, and it was a fight for supremacy. Who can get to the sauna first? I suppose that was probably the biggest dilemma.
Yeah. Who won that?
Usually me. Usually Matt.
You or him?
Me.
Why did you win the battle of the sauna or the race to it?
I'm faster.
Faster. I've got to ask a question. You two fought out you both won an apprentices premiership at the Gold Coast. Matthew won 1 and Michael, you won 2. Yep. Now, in one of them, you beat Matthew by 1 win. Now, I want to know how far brotherly love extended.
Oh, it wasn't too bad. No,
no, you won.
I know. That's the idea, but no, it was pretty good. No, we get on at home pretty well. You know, when you get home, racing's really not a major thing. We try and keep that at the races, and when we get home, it's all gone.
Do you talk about races much?
Look, it's hard not to when you're in a house basically with sort of 3 jockeys all the time, and you know it is not just a job. It is a lifestyle. So it is awfully hard not to talk about racing, but. Sure, there is that time where you do need to switch out and you do need a nice sort of social life and basically get away from the pressure of racing and horses altogether.
Yeah. Michael, you were aware when you started race riding of your father's achievements as a jockey?
I was to a certain degree, but sort of early on in his career I probably wasn't as sort of aware as what Matt sort of was when he was sort of travelling overseas, and you know, he sort of done most of that, and I was sort of just off the scenes a bit. But, you know, the more I sort of started riding, the more I sort of got to know more of Dad's achievements, yeah. Yeah,
and there's been plenty of them. What, do you ever go to your father for advice, or is there a blue, or do you have a disagreement, or do you say, no, I'm probably best if I go outside the family circle? No. I might listen better.
No, definitely not. Look, we're all going to have our blues and disagreements at times, but look, right from the word go, everything that me and Michael has achieved is solely because of Dad's teachings and basically casting his hand over our career. Neither of us had much to do with horses before we started riding, so in a very short space of time it was hands-on a lot from Dad and really got us going quick. So we were never on horses from young children. Basically, we just sort of jumped straight into it.
Both of you fellows have ridden a lot of black type winners early in your career. Michael, I suppose your biggest win, what, the eyeliner?
Yeah, I'd have to say the eyeliner was on Sneaky Long last year. He was probably my biggest win.
Sneaky Long, Cocktail Supreme, Mr. Hornblower, Felix Trinidad, Sneaky Long and Cocktail Supreme and Sneaky Long. Sneaky Long's beaten Cocktail Supreme and Felix Trinidad.
Omni Trader. At Durban when you knocked over the hot Matani.
Yeah, he's a good old horse to me. I think I won about 5 or 6 on him.
Omni Trader, he's still clear. He's 4 in front. Matani in second spot. He can't get there at the moment. Omni Trader's run them ragged. Matani to second. Mr. Hornblower late, but Omni Trader. Omni Trader's beat Matani, Mr. Hornblower.
Yeah, he got me my first black type winner, so, you know, he was sort of the starting point to it all, and I ended up riding him in the Stradbroke that year, and I run 7th on him in the Stradbroke, so he's been a good old horse to me.
Matt, you've bit the bullet into Sydney.
Yep.
Fought out a 3-way photo in the Apprentices Premiership with Peter Wells and Mitchell Beedman.
Yes.
Ran second. Only there for 9 months. What do you think of Sydney? What'd you learn?
In my first 3 months of Sydney, I've come from late. It's a real learning curve down there.
What'd you learn?
It's real hard, very hard. If you don't step up to the plate, they shoot up and spat out within moments of sort of arriving. So, yeah, you really need to pick up the ball and run, and you do have to sit there and you've got to listen to everybody, and you've got to raise the bar yourself and just keep working at it. And I was fortunate enough to land straight on my feet, and especially with Tim. Look, Tim's not only a great trainer, he's a good horseman, and he showed me a lot of different things about racing and horses in general. So
That's Tim Martin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eagle Rock ranged up at the 100. He might be a touch fitter than Hidden Assets, who might be running out of condition. Now he is, and Eagle Rock pulls away and wins it by about a length and a quarter on the line.
Michael, do you hope to have a stint in Sydney yourself?
Look, it's always a sort of a dream, but you know, I'm quite sort of, you know, set down here at the moment, and you know, while I'm riding in Brisbane, I want to sort of establish a name for myself up here before I go and travel south or you know, in the future overseas. But at this stage, I'm sort of pretty set in being here in Brisbane and getting a name for myself.
I'm just looking at this boat here. You tell me, you blokes go fishing a bit?
Occasionally.
Can I ask, do you ever catch anything?
Oh, we catch enough. Catch our fair share.
Who drives a boat?
Oh, it's usually me that's in charge of the pilot, but
because
no,
you're the older brother.
Of course. And I'm faster.
Yeah. Any speeding fines?
No,
on the water?
Not yet.
No. So what else do you do? I mean, are you close? Do you do a lot of things together?
We pretty much the majority of everything. Yeah. We don't really do much without each other. We'll be going out for lunch. Both of us usually go. You know, it's pretty much everything.
Did you miss Matthew when he went to Sydney?
Of course.
You did? Yeah.
No, I missed him a bit, but, you know, I went down there a few times, so it wasn't as bad, and Matt sort of come up on weekends, so, you know, we were sort of always back and forth.
Matthew, you broke your neck one day in a race fall at Doomben, so we're talking about your dad and race fall, so you've had a bad one early in the career?
Yeah, look, it probably, early on as an apprentice, it was sort of a bad fall to have, which really set me back for a long period of time. But look, as I say, it's part and parcel of the game, and it was just something that happened, and it was unfortunate that it did, but come back and been riding plenty of winners and everything like that, so it hasn't fazed me one bit at all.
If you weren't a jockey, what would you be doing?
Don't know. I didn't really have that much planned. No. I left school in grade 9 and sort of come straight to the racetrack. I wasn't really that good academically, and you know, that was sort of
racing.
It always has been racing for me.
What were you going to do?
I was going to be a school teacher.
Why?
Well, I never had no ambition of being a jockey. I did have an ambition of being a jockey, but it wasn't the foremost thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to have a good background with schooling and everything like that, basically so I could have something to fall back on if weight become an issue or touch wood, a bad injury. I always wanted that second option up my sleeve, and I did quite well at school, so yeah, that was the approach I took. That's why I didn't start till later on.
So at the moment you're riding horses and annoying your father?
Absolutely, yeah.